Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here. And today, let's talk about privacy laws in general. Now, if you're a longtime listener or follower of mine, you know that I'm a privacy advocate through and through. I work with the Foundation for Human Internet, Human ID, Cyber Peace, a whole bunch of others. This is something that I think is sacrosanct, and I think we also tend to create laws in society to the lowest common denominator, which oftentimes gets us in trouble. I recently did basically a video slash podcast slash radio segment on Apple and privacy and how the UK is trying to break them. But a recent case from Canada, basically, I think is super important, and we need to focus on this because I think this is essentially what happens when privacy laws hinder us more than help us on occasion. And this recent case is, I think, really important. And for this one, we are heading to scenic British Columbia, courtesy of the CBC. Now, Christine Moore has an adult son. His name is Christopher Newton. He went missing more than a year ago, and Christopher struggles with things like mental illness and addiction. And so his mom, Christine, has been trying to find him. But here's the thing. British Columbia privacy laws, provincial privacy laws, have made it challenging for her to actually get information that she needs in order to both find him and care for him. Now, Christine actually lives in Alberta, basically another province, and by virtue of that says it's not uncommon for her to go long periods of time without talking to her son. Christopher, who's age 33, went missing in December of 2023, according to police. And the Nelson Police Department, talking to CBC News, said that Christopher was last seen at a Walmart in Nelson, British Columbia, where Moore says he was living on the streets. Now, Newton would often visit support services in Nelson and other places around BC, and basically would call his mother from those locations, but Christine says she can't confirm if he was seen by outreach workers last summer because of privacy laws protecting Newton's personal information. She's used to getting calls on a regular basis on intervals. They stopped happening, and here we are. So, in BC, in the vast majority of cases, a person has to provide verbal or written consent for family members to be allowed to access personal information on them, such as healthcare or support service records. The Ministry of Health, talking to CBC, said, and I quote, "Ensuring personal health information is kept confidential is a top priority for government as well as for healthcare providers who care for patients." So, one exception is emergency situations, and according to the ministry, if a person is in crisis and could pose a risk to themselves or others, information about them may be shared between healthcare providers and family members. But Christine says she's hit nothing but roadblocks from treatment centers, supporting agencies, and the Ministry of Health when trying to find out more information about her son, where he's been, and his condition. And I think that really speaks to the greater issue that we have essentially around the world, is privacy laws should be sacrosanct, but when they get in the way, they tend to be an issue. And we're going to have throughout the world situations like Christine and her son Christopher, where there are going to be exigent circumstances there. And so what I think should happen is essentially a mechanism should be created, whether it's provincial law in British Columbia, Alberta, wherever in Canada, or the entire Canadian government should have basically an understanding that there would be exigent circumstances, especially when it comes to family members, in the same way that, there are laws, for example, in the United States, in terms of what are called red strike laws or red flag laws, where if somebody is, let's say, basically potentially going to be harming others or themselves, they can't purchase firearms. That's obviously not a problem in Canada. But the point is that these types of red flags exist. And so having a red flag for privacy, I think, makes a lot of sense. If you have a regular cadence and you can prove, if Christine can prove that her son indeed has been, has issues with addiction, mental illness, and all of that, there should be mechanisms in place, both provincially and federally, to ensure that she's going to get access, because this would be considered an exigent circumstance. And so I think that's the issue that we've got here. But this really underscores that the letter of the law and the spirit of the law can be two different things. And quite frankly, I think we have to account for both while helping others. So there you go. Best of luck to Christine and her son Christopher. But heads up, this is a problem worldwide, so not just in Canada. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.